Hello and welcome to the Mindful Man Project. This is where we discuss all the issues and pieces of the puzzle that is mental health. We look at the things in life that get people down or create anxiety in their life and hopefully give some guidance on how to become a modern mindful man or woman. I am your host, Tyson Venables. On today's episode, we have Emma Maidman, and she has turned the microphone around on me to get to the bottom of why I started the Mindful Man Project and where I've been in my own journey. So strap yourself in, here we go.
So we're turning the tables in this podcast interview, and we're actually putting Tyson under the spotlight so that you can get to know him a little bit more and his journey and kind of, I guess, why he started the podcast. So I'm going to dive straight in. Tyce, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to your own podcast.
Good to be first one off the bat, but also getting interviewed with other. Yeah, so it should be good. It should be interesting to see what you've got.
So tell me about yourself.
Well, at the moment, I'm a personal trainer, yoga teacher. The yoga teaching has evolved through my own personal battles with anxiety and depression back in a while ago. Yoga teaching or yoga classes really helped me become a more balanced and more clear thinking individual, and in that, from that then has also stemmed my deep passion with mental health and mental illness and helping other people and supporting other people in their pursuit of trying to dig themselves out of that hole, because that's where I've come from, those deep dark depths of trying to take my own life, and some would see as not succeeding, but yeah. And then so that yoga and meditation literally brought me from those deep dark depths, and where I'm heading to now with it is actually being able to help people in more so than just treating it as like, here's an antidepressant, take this, or here's some pills, do this. Is treating the causes behind it, and that's why I wanted to really start the Mindful Man Project. It was more allow those pieces of things that get dudes down, but also everybody, to like really help them become a better person, and then hopefully not becoming more depressed. And that's my biggest thing, is like I find myself is that I quite often get stuck in certain things that I can't do, and it's just this revolving pattern. And I found a lot of people have patterns playing out, and yeah, so that's kind of where who I am, what I'm doing. I know it's a long-winded answer, but yeah, like for me, PT and yoga teaching and just being able to help as many people, that's generally who I am. 34-year-old male, loves long walks on the beach.
Pina coladas?
Pina coladas. I don't get caught in the rain.
Okay, so when I asked you to tell me about yourself, I didn't think that you were going to answer all the questions that I had for you, but good to know you're on top of things.
Sorry.
So take us back a little bit before, I know that you've been teaching yoga now for a little while, but before that you've been a personal trainer and you've been in the health and fitness industry for a long time. So where did that interest in health and wellness come from before the mental health side of things? Have you always been super fit and interested, or was there a period of your life when you're a bit of a couch potato? Take us back a little bit.
Well, I've literally grown up in gyms. My mum was a gym instructor back in the day when they wore leotards and leg warmers, and Jane Fonda was the rage, and that's where I grew up, in a gym pretty much. And then so yeah, around gyms, elite rugby league and rugby union background, and then from there moved into
So you were playing sports?
Yeah, I was playing rugby league and union up until like 21, and then I decided to travel. And literally, that's, you know, like if you've ever travelled, you know, you're trying all the things. You're trying all the food, all the alcohol, and doing very little exercise outside of it. I played a little bit of rugby when I was in Canada, but mainly all drinking and eating, and so I put on a fair bit of weight when I was over there. And then obviously I had a bit of an injury when I fell off a roof when I was a carpenter. So I'm a carpenter by trade, and
Just slide that bit in there.
yeah. So yeah, I'm a carpenter by trade and fell off a roof when it was icy and spent 11 months on crutches. So again, I put on a bit of weight while I was off work, and that's where the mental health stuff started stemming in, because like I was in a foreign place, couldn't leave because I had all this work and all this stuff, work to do on my ankle. And then yeah, so fast forwarding back into your question, is this like once I got back from Canada, and a couple of my mates are like, oh, let's just get back in the gym, like the guys I used to play footy with. And so started going to the gym with them. And initially I had done my personal training Cert 3 and 4 when I first left school, and never did anything with it. Once I started getting more into the fitness side of things, and I was regularly going to yoga and stuff then, but I need to actually help me get out of the headspace and leaving all the noise behind and just being me for an hour. So, and then I just gradually found that I really loved helping people and watching people move and how they move and deciphering why they're moving that way. It's like the humans are this big jigsaw puzzle, and I just love being a big Tetris master and trying to put things where they need to go, and or help people find the way they need to go. And so from that, yeah, it's like now it's 7 years or 6.5, 7 years on, and it's still always just learning different new things, and then being able to carry that over into my my own PT clients, and different aspects that now I can bring to different people.
So you mentioned sort of in the first 5 seconds of this interview that you've been through some struggles with mental health, and so that was, as you were just saying then, as a result of sustaining a pretty intense injury from falling off a roof and being in a foreign country. And I guess, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe feeling a little isolated in that situation. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't have any like issues with talking about it anymore. Like the more I talk about and get it out there, at least if someone listens to it and can have some sort of relatability to it, then it's all good. So it was mainly like for me, it was mainly all just an accumulation of just little bits and pieces. So I was over in Canada, I'd fallen off the roof, and broken recently, and then I'd most recently just broken up with my then girlfriend, so I was travelling with, and drugs and alcohol. It was just this perfect storm of just literally a shit storm of all these different things. And then that whole thing of like, if you've ever broken up with someone where the friendship group goes with one or the other, and I kind of the whole friendship group went with her because they were all her workmates. So it was just like, yeah, it literally, so it was one day I'd been literally just partying because I was just trying to escape what was going on in my head and escape what was going on around me. And then so there was one day where it was one afternoon, I just got home, and because I had a bunch of what's called Percocet, it's kind of like on the same level as, if in Australia, it's on the same level as like Panadine Fort, a little bit heavier than Panadine Fort.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like, if you've obviously seen like on a movie and stuff, how they just crack open those those orange containers, and that was full. So I had just grabbed a whole handful and just like took them. Yeah, this is it. Like I thought it through. It wasn't something I was just like, it wasn't just like an ad hoc kind of thing. And then yeah, took them and I fell asleep for like, it was like 2 days. And then I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? Like, I'm not supposed to be here. And I just broke down into like tears. And then I was so ashamed of myself. I lived with 2 other housemates at the time and they didn't even know what had happened. Like, they just thought I was in my room and they didn't even know what was going on. That was the thing, is like, I was just kind of shutting off to the world, but because over there, like, they're travelling, they're doing their own thing, and they just literally just didn't know whether I was there or not. And that was one of the hardest things. It was like, well, I was in this place and I was hurting so much and no one really actually even noticed. And yeah, so I went to the hospital straight away, and then like
You took yourself there?
yeah, I went there straight away. It was just like, you're not supposed to be here, like, you need help. Again, I didn't think I had anyone over there, so it was just like, went straight there. And yeah, the doctors are like, they were really nice. They made sure everything was all good. They're like, yeah, like, you have been very lucky. And then they sent me to a counsellor and my GP. And then yeah, from there, the counsellor, she talked me through a bunch of stuff and it really helped with journaling and stuff like that, but then also recommended like meditation and yoga. And then the GP side of things, he gave me I think I was on Zoloft, which was like an antidepressant, and I got quite high in that dose, but yeah, then after that, like, the more meditation and yoga I did, the less I needed the Percocet, oh, not the Percocets, I was, caught in my head, the less I needed the Zoloft and the antidepressants. So eventually, like, I managed to wean off it, and yeah, never really ever been to that point again. And the thing for me is, like, you can see things a lot clearer once you've been to that kind of deep, dark, murky depths. But it's also taught me a lot about who I am, and I can see, and I've learnt a lot of triggers and different things, and you can actually then go, okay, well, that's not actually, you're not actually thinking that, it's your brain's trying, or you haven't had enough sleep, or you haven't eaten enough, and these kinds of things, and then you can kind of go, okay, no, that's just you being silly, stop being silly, calm down. Or like they say, like, you don't know until you go to the absolute end. It's whether physical or mentally, like, until you completely burn out, or you can completely, at that point, like, luckily enough, I was able to wake up. So then from that point on, it's just like, well, you got to be given a second chance. You got to make the most of it.
Do you remember walking into your first yoga class?
Yeah, I literally, like, so the first one I did was in Banff, and I was literally like Tin Man, when Tin Man, he's like looking for a can of oil, and it's just like, and absolutely sweating up a storm, which hasn't stopped. So I still sweat up a storm in every yoga class, and like, that was 9 years ago. But yeah, like, I literally was falling over, and I didn't know what the down dog was or anything like that, but and it was the dude that was hiding up in the back corner closest to the door, so I could make an early exit when I was finished. But yeah, no, like, those classes were amazing, because it was literally, like, if I didn't take anything that the teacher was saying on board, like any of the philosophy or anything like that, it was just me on that little island, a little island mat, and I didn't have to worry about anything else that was going on. It was just doing what I needed to do just to be on the mat. And that's pretty special. Like, there's not many things you can do for yourself that allows that to happen.
Is that what inspired you to become a teacher?
No, not really. To become a teacher is like, initially, and I was still wanting to start up men's health and fitness retreats. So the initial reasoning behind that was because I really want to help as many men as possible with like mental health or just lifestyle happenings that are going on for them, and take it as a retreat form where I can offer the fitness side but also the yoga side. But then throughout my yoga teacher training, the learning behind it and realizing I've got a special skill set that I can help as many people as I can with what I've got from my CrossFit background, my PT background, my functional fitness background, where I can see the way people move. That skill set can then lend itself into helping a broader range of people outside of that retreat system, and that's what's really drawn me into being a yoga teacher. Like, it was like, yeah, the retreats were the catalyst to get me to the teacher training, but then throughout the teacher training I've realised it's not just about the retreats, it's about helping the broader community realise something special about their body. And then also me being a bigger framed dude coming from rugby, like a footy head jock, as so to speak, and being able to then show that you can do yoga and you can do all those other things and still be a blokey bloke, a masculine man, but you can still also be in touch with what your spiritual side or other stuff.
And have a cry in a pigeon pose.
Yeah, you can cry in your pigeon pose, or do a full class of heart opening postures and then be crying throughout the rest of the day and you're wondering why you're crying. It won't happen. But
So is that ultimately why you started the Mindful Man Project, is to be able to help as many people as possible? And then kind of furthering on from that, can you tell us what are the elements and what are the different aspects to the Mindful Man Project?
Well, the Mindful Man Project has stemmed from just kind of sitting back and working out why men get to where they are, because men commit suicide on a far greater rate than what women do. And and the women are still in the same boat. But I sat back and I was looking at and thinking about myself as like, what are the areas and what are the triggers that get you to that point where you want to like either take to booze, take to drugs, or go down that slippery slope of suicide. And it's all these things as like finances, relationships, becoming a new dad or being a new dad, failing at business, starting a new business, all these different things. And it's just like, there's so many different areas of our lives that we're trying to balance and trying to master. But unless we've gone and done a uni course or done something, we don't know what the fuck is going on. And we're trying to work it out as we go. And you've got the pressures from outside life, and you've got your relationship pressures from your partner and your boss or whatever, and you're just trying to juggle all these balls. So trying to cut us all, like giving yourself and cutting yourself a bit of slack and realising you can seek that help. And that's what the Mindful Man Project's about. It's like fitness, yoga, and mastering all the aspects of your life within one project. So like yoga, like yourself, with yoga, it's like you got your breath work, the pranayama, and the asana, which is the movement, which is all cleansing the body and clearing the body of all energy to then master the mind and in meditation. And it's the same thing as like, that's what the Mindful Man Project is about, is teaching men how to breathe and work out to then be able to master what they're doing in everyday life. And this is what this podcast is about. It's like bringing on guests who are going to be able to help men, but hopefully women as well, in all aspects of life. That it's like, I'm having trouble with finances. How often do you hear people say who are like, oh, we never got taught how to do taxes, or we never got taught how to run a business in high school. And it's so true. And it's just like, we can do all these courses and do all this, but it's just like having someone who can say, yeah, don't know that either, and put something together that people can come to and go, okay, that person was the expert in this or whatever. And yeah, so I think that's what your question was. I kind of go on these little tangents. It's just like...
So, I guess kind of wrapping it up a little bit, because we are running out of time. If there were 3 things that you could have said to yourself, knowing what you know now, to the person that was in Canada, going through a really tough time and in a really dark place, what are the 3 things that you would, your present self would say to that past self?
My present self to my past self, one would be reach out to somebody. Even though it's hard to voice what those feelings are and how you're feeling it, is always speak to somebody. And another one would be, don't be such a bloody idiot. Like, yeah, it's hard to be in that situation and then make a clear decision, and like full sympathy to those people who do make that decision and don't wake up. Or it's a hard decision to. It's not something that's made lightly, and it's not something that's been made a snap of the fingers. Genuinely, I would say talk to somebody. Don't be such an idiot. And what else would it be? I'd say probably like be. These are such a good questions. You stumped me.
Go to yoga.
I would just say, like, just get outside of your head, which is easy to say, but being inside your own head, if you sat with your thoughts for 5 minutes, it's just a fucking it literally a head fuck. So it's just like, try and get outside of your head as much as possible, and then that way then you're not in that position where you were pretty questionless.
So where can we find out more about you?
More about me, you can find out about most of my stuff that happens at Tyson Ben on Instagram, the Mindful Man Project on Instagram, Facebook, Tyson Venables, and then bearstrengthandfitness.com.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for interviewing me.
On your own podcast.
It feels good. Thanks, Em.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. If you like what you heard and want to get all the info, check out the show notes. While you're there, rate and review the show. And one last thing, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming episodes. Until next time, my friends, continue to look out for each other and continue to lift each other up.